Well, welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Thursday, May the 1st. Happy May. Lovely to have you in for another episode of the broadcast. We've been running around all day. Sorry if I will acknowledge that I'm slightly behind schedule today. I will not say that I'm late because the show doesn't start until I show up, and here I am. So technically I'm not late, but I will say that we are running a little bit behind schedule here tonight because, as Brian Malone points out, the Install Live is tomorrow with Brian Callahan and Greg Cosell, and I have been slaving over college football tape cut-ups for you to have your coach and Cosell break down all of the different players from your draft class. Spoiler alert, it's going to be very offense heavy in the install tomorrow, and I have very much enjoyed studying in greater detail with the help of Cosell and Brian Callahan providing me specific cut-ups that they would like to go through. I've enjoyed getting to know these players a little more because some of them I'm familiar with. You know, if you play in the SEC like Chimere DK did, then I've definitely seen you play football at some point, or Gunnar Helm. But if you play, for example, at Stanford, I didn't get to see a lot of Alec Iamaner this season, and I have seen a hell of a lot more of him now after spending basically the rest of the afternoon after radio, one, getting a haircut, and two, cutting up tape. So we are excited to have you guys in the house tomorrow. I don't know, Robert, are there still tickets available? I texted Rich, our promo director, earlier today. He said there are at least 10 left as of about 3:30. So 4 hours ago, there were at least 10 tickets left. I don't know if there are still tickets available. You can go to 1045thezone.com to check if those tickets are still available and have the opportunity to hang out with Cosell, with your head coach, with Ron Slay, with Blaine Bishop, with even Robert, and, you're stuck with me. Regardless of whether you want to hang out with me or not, I'll be there running this thing and making sure that we, as long as we get out on time, I guess it doesn't really matter what else I do. But that's not what we're here to talk about tonight. We're here to talk about changing the culture. And there's one free agent in particular who I do believe change is best embodies the culture change that they are trying to bring into Tennessee. Curtis says, what strain is Moon Man on tonight? I don't know, Robert. I think it's called the mumu strain at this point in time. If I put this man on camera, I'm so tempted. This man bought a grandma's mumu. Okay. I have pajamas. All right. I very much like my pajamas. Shocking to nobody. They are silk pajamas. But I am looking at a man, a grown-ass man, a 31, almost 32-year-old man, wearing grandmama's muumuu because he thought it was more comfortable, basically because he is wearing pregnancy clothing at this point in time. I was told that he was losing weight.
It's not true.
Get up and do a turnaround the way that you did.
Not true. No, I'm scared I would expose
myself. Get up
myself.
right now and do a turnaround.
I'm scared.
Get up
I'm
right
scared.
now.
I'm
right
scared,
now.
Dude,
Stand
I don't
up
know.
as
My
long
giblets
as
might
you
drop
are.
out. We would get banned.
Do it.
You got to come to the install. If we sell out the install, Sunday night mumu.
Sunday night mumu. If we sell out the install,
if we sell out
there's
the
your
install,
motivation. Look at it. You can see the floral design from up top. It is unbelievable. Curtis says Buck wasn't playing us. Now, I don't lie to you guys about these things. At least he's got clothes on, I suppose, at this point in time. But yes, if I see 10 ticket purchases in the comment section for the install tonight, I will make Bert stand up and do a 360.
Hell no, they're going to lie.
Tonight.
They're going to be lying.
10 tickets tonight. That is absolutely. Ann Herndon says, Bert, thanks for confirming to me that I'm
gay. Don't base it off me. I'm a damn.
Get off my screen. I have things to talk about. 10 ticket purchases, and I'll make the Moon Man and the muumuu stand up and do a 360. We're looking forward to that at this point. Zach Parkin says at least he's awake this time. I don't know. Did you see his eyes? Come on. We're all right. we have actual football things to talk about. Don't distract me with Robert's mumu and all the things that are going to delight me and make me laugh. We are going to make sure that you get to know what the Titans are trying to put together. And obviously, you know what the Titans are trying to put together, a winning football team. But beyond that, what is the foundation of a winning football team? How are they going to continue to build upon that? That is something that we are going to discuss at length together. Kendall says, I'm in Virginia and can't even come, but I'm going to just buy 9 tickets right now. If you buy 9 tickets, I'll find somebody to give them to, Kendall, and I'll make Robert stand up and do this mumu dance. I'll make him do a dance. I will make him do a dance in the mumu, a mumu dance.
A mumu dance? I ain't doing a mumu dance.
You're absolutely going. If this man buys 9 tickets right now, you are doing a dance in that mumu, and I'm going to get off the screen, and it's just going to be you. That's going to be the new end of show video. Anyway, so send it to me on Twitter or DM it to me on Instagram, the receipt for these purchases, and I will count them up before the end of the show, and I will see if we have enough to make Robert do a dance in a muumuu to end the show. You'll get a live end of show video. How about that? That's the carrot here. We do the end of show video at the end of the show, whether it's, Big Joe Dubin yelling at bachelorettes or that poor child getting carried into the sky by that kite, or Jerry Jones talking about glory holes, baby. I'll give you a live muumuu dance at the end of the show if you purchase the rest of these tickets tonight. Kendall says, don't want my wife to kick me out tonight. You don't have to purchase 9, Kendall, but if you buy one, that is one closer to making Robert Walsh do a dance in a muumuu for a live audience. And that is what we strive for as a primetime show. So let's talk about culture changes. Let's talk about free agents and draft ads. And let's get into the show. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time from the Zen Sports Studios. I'm your host, Buck Rising. I'm proud, as always, to be presented to you by the wonderful people at VIP Play. Zen Sports is soon to become VIP Play, and I'll tell you more about how you can get ahead on getting in on all the action. VIPPlayApp.com for more information. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Online at tworiversford.com, quality American-made Ford vehicles and award-winning customer service on offer. Go to Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com for more information today. TrueMath Fitness in the Gulch, where you go for your first workout free as a Middle Tennessee resident. No workout ever recycled or repeated at TrueMathFitness.com. All right, so as we talk about all the different things that the Titans are trying to do to improve this football team. Improving the football team obviously starts with getting better football players, getting a cohesive unit, getting better quarterback play, and first and foremost, improving the product on the field. But it's not as simple as just getting good football players equal good football team. You have to have leadership on the football team. You have to have direction. You have to have proper management. You have to have good coaching that understand the role as not, the dictator in this situation, but more as the facilitator. How can the coach serve in a support role for the players who are the most important thing on any football team and on any professional, on any team? The players are more important than anybody, more important than the coaches, more important than the front office, more important than ownership, more important than the fans. The players are the whole reason that football games are won or lost, but it's more complicated than that. It's a very delicate ecosystem, a football locker room in particular, because there's so many different elements that you have going on. And this particular football locker room has been devoid of direction. It feels like, I would argue, for at least one season. I think when Derek and Tannehill were still here and Vrabel was still here, there was an identity. There was a core philosophy. There was direction. There was leadership. And then when all three of those elements left, along with the depreciation of things over the course of time, we've talked about Delaney and Woodyard and Jarrell and Byard and everybody else slowly trickling out of that facility, which just left a bit of a void that nobody, as of late, has been able to successfully step up and fill for them. So now they have to go about finding the new Tennessee Titans, the new structure, the new foundation for how they're going to get back to winning. I think that there's a lot of different ways that you can go about this, and the Titans have chosen to go about it in free agency and draft with a specific set of parameters that they're looking to add. So the question that I'm going to ask you is this: on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. If you want to get involved, we would love for you to get involved. Who's your favorite Titans free agent signing? In the comment section, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. Like I mentioned, you tell us, we'll tell you that the Primetime program is made possible by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer, where they offer you employee pricing for everyone. That means you pay what they pay on almost every new Ford on the lot. That's what Two Rivers Ford promises you, just like they promise quality American-made Ford vehicles and award-winning customer service. Online at tworiversford.com for more information today. All right, so who's your favorite Titans free agent signing? Because they've added a great many players at this point in time. Kendall says the guard forgot his name, so I guess he's not your favorite. But Kevin Zeitler comes in here at 35, going to be 36 years old, somebody who is hugely dependable, somebody who's very effective at his trade. He's definitely at the end of his career, and he's only on a one-year, $9 million deal, but Kevin Zeitler is an immediate upgrade over Dylan Radins or who else has played right guard here unsuccessfully in the last couple of years. Josh Klein or Quentin Spain was a left guard, but there have been a bunch of different players. Nate Davis never really – he started out well, but it really petered out towards the end of his career here, and ultimately it did not go well for him in Chicago, where he ended up being one of the worst contracts that previous administration in Chicago did sign. Let's see. Farsender says Xavier Woods, the safety. For Katie Marie's Clemens, she says Tyler Lockett, the wide receiver. Jeffrey Mullen says Cody Barton, the linebacker. Haven't had a lot of love for Cody Barton. Haven't talked to Cody Barton yet. I know there was a group of Titans free agents that spoke today. That was during the final hour of the radio show. And since Lucas is not here, I did not go to attend the press conferences today because it's just Bert and me. And when Lucas is not there, it does not give me the flexibility to be able to go to press conferences while we are still doing the radio show, but that's fine. So we haven't heard from Cody Barton specifically. We haven't heard from Zeitler or Dan Moore either, or Van Jefferson. There's a great many free agents that we have not yet talked to. So potentially, this answer might change depending on if you like their media availability, if you like their press conference responses and things like that. Because I do think that a lot of you have a great deal of love for Tyler Lockett, who spoke to the media for the first time as a Titan today.
Come in here and shake everyone's hand before. Why is that important to you? What does it say about you?
I mean, I feel like, y'all are just as much as family as everybody that's going to be teammates, right? Like, so you got to get to know the coaches, get to know the media. You guys are going to be the ones writing stories about us, whether it's good or bad. And who knows, sometimes doing that handshake, you might be a little bit more lenient with the yeah, but I mean, either way, it's great to meet y'all. Obviously, I'm going to learn new names, learn new faces, but excited just to be able to do some media with y'all.
What's it like coming into a new situation and also now a brand new quarterback coming in and the number one pick in Cam?
Yeah, obviously it's going to be new just because, I've been at the same place for 10 years. And now being able to go somewhere else it's a lot different. Like I said, you're looking at different faces, a lot of different coaches that I haven't had the chance to play with, different players. Some players I have played with. But for the most part, it can also be refreshing. The biggest thing that I think you battle with, that any player battles with, is just the comparison of, well, they did this here, we do this here, and you pick and choose what you like or don't like. But the other thing is you just got to be able to buy in. I think Nashville is a great city, and it's been pretty cool so far. Like, the teammates are very welcoming, the coaches are very welcoming. Coming in OTAs, we've been installing a lot. So I tell you, it's been a lot, but it's been fun at the same time, learning everybody's names in the in treatment with the medical staff, then having great connections and conversations. Just went in the weight room with the weight staff. So it's been really good just within my first couple of days of being here from Monday to today.
What were the things that ultimately sold you on the Titans and signing here?
I was talking to Jim yesterday, and a lot of people didn't know this, but, I actually grew up a Titans fan when I was younger. And I'm not just, saying that. I actually went to the Titans versus Baltimore playoff game It was my mom, my best friend Dante, and I want to say his mom as well. And we drove all the way up to Nashville, stayed over there by Vanderbilt, and we went to the game. So I was a fan of like Vince Young, fan of Finnegan. That was like one of my favorite cornerbacks to watch because he always got into a fight every single time. Linebacker was Bullock. You had Albert Haynesworth, who was nasty at the defensive tackle, and I even watched Britt at receiver. So, and the other person, you obviously can't forget Vince Young and Chris Johnson, but even Griffin. You know, it was just fun. So ever since Vince Young got drafted, I was always trying to keep up with Tennessee and stuff, and that was pretty much after my dad ended up playing in the league. So when he was done, I started to navigate the Tennessee, and then after that, I just started watching more college.
Tyler?
So that is Tyler Lockett, man of the people and a Titans fan by trade. He is somebody who I think, you know, he obviously has to produce on the football field. And Tyler Lockett is somebody who's been an All-Pro. He's been a Pro Bowler. He has played in a Super Bowl. He was not on the team that won a Super Bowl. I think he was a rookie the year that they went back to the Super Bowl and lost to New England in the Malcolm Butler game. And with all that going on at this point in time, Tyler Lockett is somebody who's just simply a leader. Dean Ward says it well. Lockett is a leader. He will make the wide receiver room better just by his presence and ability to mentor. And that, to me, is as important. To me, it's as important as what he's going to be able to produce on the field. Obviously, he has to produce, and he's been a very available player. He's been a very effective player. Last year was not his best season. In fact, it's his worst season, I think, since 2017 or 2018, if you're just looking at the counting stats. But to me, he really embodies what it is that they're trying to bring here. Somebody who is dynamic as a person, as well as being that as a football player, somebody who has done it, who has proven that they can be successful in the NFL at the most difficult professional football league or the most difficult football league to play in anywhere in the world. He is somebody who has immediate respect and who respects others. So it's a really good combination of qualities that he brings to the table, that he brings to the locker room that I just don't think that you had in last year's locker room specifically. Then you combine that with Cam Ward and the dynamic personality that he brings, the leadership qualities that he brings. You work that in with what you've already got on the roster and somebody like Jeff Simmons, who's, you know, your hype guy and somebody who's going to gas your teammates up. And even when Will Levis, you know, looked like he might be something, that's Will damn Levis, right? Titans fans ate that shit up because it was Jeff Simmons, leader on defense, supporting the, at the time, rookie quarterback, who was obviously having a great game against the Atlanta Falcons. But you need guys like that. You need all different kinds to make a football team realize its full potential. So to me, Tyler Lockett so far is my favorite free agent signing. I don't know if he's going to end up being the most important free agent signing or the most impactful free agent signing. We will see what becomes of Tyler Lockett, the football player. But Tyler Lockett, the locker room presence, already brings a different kind of perspective, a different dynamic that I think that they've desperately needed to add into that locker room. Now, from culture changes to how they've gone about the offseason, how would you grade their offseason so far? It's been a pretty fast and furious 3 months since they hired Mike Borgonzi and made the shift culturally and philosophically and structurally that they've tried to make, since they've obviously not moved on from Will Levis, but are moving in a direction away from Will Levis and all the bad that they brought last year. Jack Ripper goes with an A-, or rather that's an A from Kendall. There's an A- from Jack. There's a B+ from Major Keys. Richie is more, pump the brakes with a C at this point in time. Great offseason. I think Travis meant to write great, not grade. Great offseasons, or maybe he meant to write grading their offseason. So far, a solid A. So a lot of positive reviews for the Titans at this point in time. I'm going to give you my grade here in just a second, and I'm going to let you hear from Chad Brinker, who did the first 20 minutes of the radio show, first 22 to 25 minutes of the radio show. here with me today, earlier this morning, right after I remind you that the Primetime program is made possible by VIP Play, which will now offer you 200-plus leagues to wager on and all of your favorite bet types. They will also have for you the VIP Players Club sweepstakes, where every bet you make on VIP Play gets you entries into their monthly contest. You'll earn $1 per entry, you'll earn 1 entry per bet, 1 entry per dollar bet, and 10 times your entries on parlays and same game parlays. VIP Play app is coming soon to Tennessee exclusively. To learn more and to claim your early welcome bonus or VIP Players Club status, head to VIPPlayApp.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 plus in the state of Tennessee to bet at VIPPlayApp.com. So the grade that I would give them for their offseason is I would give them a C plus. I feel like a C plus is reasonable. I don't know whether Cam Ward is going to be a franchise quarterback. I know they believe that Cam Ward is going to be a franchise quarterback. I am somebody who struggles with them not taking the trade that New York was offering, because there are so many different things that you can accomplish with multiple picks from that number 1 overall pick that help you sustainably build a better football program. Now, it doesn't mean that they still can't build a good football team and that Cam Ward can't be a huge part of it. But I do go back and forth on the opportunity cost of not taking the Giants' offer. But I'm fine with Cam Ward. So I probably ding them a little there, even though I like the pick that they made at number 1 overall. I'm a believer in the player. I'm a believer in the person. Well, I'm not necessarily a believer in the Titans organization. I think that's, pretty well documented at this point in time. Certainly not in the last 3 years. I think they've been a shit show. But, there's reason to believe that they are moving in the right direction at this point in time, and that they are making moves that would allow them to return to a level of competitiveness that they have not seen in quite some time. So I didn't like the Dan Moore contract at all. I understood why they did it. I understood that it satisfies 2 positions. I still don't like the contract. It's a lot of money for an average, at best, left tackle. They're tied to the contract for at least the next 2 years. Didn't like that. Even though J.C. Latham back to right tackle, I think makes a lot of sense. Again, I don't dislike any of their moves. Strongly dislike any of them. Well, I didn't like Van Jefferson. Van Jefferson, I don't think, if you told me Van Jefferson wasn't on the week 1 roster, that wouldn't be a surprise at all, given that the money that he gave him, or that they gave him, that's the Jamal Adams contract, the money based on the level of expectation based on the money that he was given makes me think that guy is not guaranteed a roster spot in any form or fashion. So that in the pre-draft free agency left a lot to be desired. Now, I do like Tyler Lockett. I think that he brings a lot to the table, both on the football field and in the locker room. So I do think that they made the right move there. I do like the Kevin Zeitler deal. 1 year, $9 million. You draft Jackson Slater to be a developmental interior offensive lineman. That makes a lot of sense. The draft class, I'm pretty on board with. Now, I think that these are the kind of football players that will be good football players in like 2 or 3 years, not right away. So I don't know how much better the Titans are going to be in 2025 versus what they should have been in 2024 at their quarterback not, submarine them, right? 18 individual turnovers from Will Levis. You never were going to get to see what the Tennessee Titans could have been in 2024. Maybe they would have only been a 6 or 7 win team, but they shouldn't have been a 3-14 team. That much I know is certain. Iro says, Buck, do you think Brinker is fooling us, or they're really considering Levis competition? No, I don't think they're fooling you at all. I think they absolutely mean that. That doesn't mean that he has to be here at the start of the regular season. They can have him compete with Cam Ward during training camp. They can see how well he plays during the preseason. They can flip him for a pick and move on from Will Levis. But he absolutely provides training camp competition. You want him to drive Cam Ward to be the fullest version of Cam Ward. If to evoke the competitive spirit that Cam Ward has, you have to put somebody in front of him that he thinks he needs to be. Whether or not Will Levis has any percentage chance of starting a game for this team ever again, that's not really important. Just look at the videos that you guys seem to like so much of him and Shedeur. Shedeur Sanders is his friend. Shedeur Sanders is somebody who he respects, and he just dog walks Shedeur at every opportunity when they're just out there practicing together, working out together. You want Will Levis in camp to drive that competition further. Even if Ward beats him out and beats him out soundly, that's fine. You just want to push Cam Ward. You don't want to just give him the job that way. And I think that is something that they're trying to do in every position group at this point in time. And Levis is the second most talented quarterback on the roster. He's probably the second best quarterback on the roster, given that the other options are Tim Boyle and Brandon Allen. You think Cam Ward's going to fear Tim Boyle or Brandon Allen? No. He probably doesn't fear Will Levis either. Probably doesn't fear anybody. But you want to at least make him work for it. And Will Levis is going to make him work harder than Brandon Allen or Tim Boyle might actually. So, I don't know. I don't think they're going to publicize the shit talk that he gives to Will Levis the way that the shit talk was publicized from the Shedeur Cam Ward workouts. But again, you want to drive that competitor in him, and you want to drive competitors in every position group. You want to get the most competition on the roster humanly possible, even if you don't intend on keeping those players beyond the end of training camp or roster cuts, which I think is very much the Will Levis mold at this point in time, or the Will Levis role at this point in time. So how would I grade their offseason? I would grade their offseason with a solid C+. I would like to see, we can revisit that at the end of the year to see how well they actually did based on the results on the field. But just sight unseen and looking at all the different pieces and parts and understanding how they're going to coalesce, understanding that it was a rocky process for them to get to a place where they hired Mike Borgonzi and started to move in that direction that they believed to be right after Rand Carthon. I'm okay with giving them a passing grade. It's a C+, but I'm not sold on them by any stretch of the imagination. They have to earn it. I think they should have to earn it from you, just like Cam Ward is going to have to legitimately earn the starting quarterback job here. The Titans have to earn back your trust. You shouldn't just willingly give it to them because they signed a quarterback that you like. And, it's the offseason, so nobody loses. And you are very quick to forget about 3-14. Now, there are a lot of people responsible for 3-14 that are still here with this organization. The question is, how much better can they be without the quarterback submarining them? And that's something that we talked to Chad Brinker about today, because we knew that they weren't going to be able to satisfy all their needs in the draft and in free agency because they got needs everywhere on the roster. And that was something I asked Chad today on the radio show. You can check out the full version of this interview on the podcast page, or I imagine it was posted on 104.5 The Zone's YouTube channel, if I'm not mistaken. Bert gives me the thumbs up. I'm still waiting on receipts to make him do the mumu dance at the end of the show. You have time while Chad Brinker talks here.
With all the different things that you guys have gone about trying to address and ultimately addressing, whether it be in free agency, obviously free agency doesn't end. There's post-draft. You continue to sign players, churn the roster throughout the course of the camp and the season that's upcoming. How did you guys prioritize the needs that you had while not being necessarily beholden to them in the draft, if that makes sense? Because you're going to come away looking around and being like, all right, we could use, an extra pass rusher here or an extra wide receiver there. What was the process for you guys as an organization to kind of come up with, all right, this makes more sense than that right now?
Yeah, a lot is being said about best player available, and I kind of want to maybe just shed some light on that from a general standpoint.
Please.
When it comes to the best player available, that's our philosophy, right? Every building takes different factors into consideration as they build their board, and for us, number one, can he play? So we got to go to the tape. We got to see, can this guy play football? And the second thing you look at is their physical and athletic qualities. Do they meet our standards for height, weight, and speed at the position? Are they the type of athlete that we're looking for? And then number three, you look at the personal character, you look at the football character. Are they wired right? Do they love the game of football? And then what we mean by loving the game of football, that is loving Monday through Saturday. There's some guys that love to play on Sundays or love to play on Saturdays, but they don't necessarily love all the work that you got to put in throughout the week. So we want guys that are willing to, that love the weight room, that love the film room, that are just gym rats. And then there's a medical component to this that affects our draft board. And then ultimately there's a projection part of this where we as scouts are projecting from our instincts, but also there's some data and looking at history and using the analytics to see what that projects. And then ultimately there's a value piece of this as well. You know, premium players at premium positions with premium picks. There are just certain positions on the field that impact the outcome of games more than others. And you got to draft those premium positions higher in the draft because they're just not going to be available later. So that's like a general overview of best player available. So it can be different for every team. But as we went into this, that's kind of, there's a lot more that goes into it than just that. But that's a general sense that when we go through our process of building a draft board and looking at our roster and understanding, I think pro scouting acquisitions is an area where you can fill needs. The draft is where you build your football team, the core of your football team. So that's why we did what we did in the free agency period. It didn't matter if Cam Ward was going to be the quarterback, which, you know, I think back then we were like, this could be. I don't care if it was Cam or Will Levis or whoever it was going to be our quarterback. We had to fix the offensive line. We had to address that, and that's why we attacked it the way we did.
So that's Chad Brinker on the radio show. You can hear the full interview via the podcast, like I said. Mike Vrabel's burner says, of course, the new guys preach patience while making risky picks. LOL. He's not new. This is his third year. This is his third season. Brian Callahan's not new. He's heading into year 2, coming off 3-14. He's fighting for his job. There's a great many people on that staff who have been here for some time. Mike Borgonzi is really the only new person. So maybe just because you're seeing more Chad Brinker than you ever have, you consider him new. But he was a part of the same front office structure that drafted Levis in the first place. You have to be aware that this person who's now in charge of final say of your roster, that man who just came in and did the radio interview with me today, he's never been more up for scrutiny than he is right now. So listen, I don't know if that specific account is somebody who's a Mike Vrabel stan, and I don't disagree with people who didn't think that the Titans should have moved on from Mike Vrabel or whatever. I think I've been pretty clear about that. I think Mike Vrabel's a good coach. But it doesn't mean that Mike didn't make mistakes while he was here. And it doesn't mean that just because he's gone, that the people who replaced him or that they went out of their way to replace Rand Carthon or John Robinson or Anthony Robinson, the assistant general manager last year, or Will Levis with Cam Ward, or all these different things like that. It doesn't mean that they can't ever be good again just because they've made mistakes en route to getting there. And I do think they've made a shit ton of mistakes en route to getting there. But Chad Brinker can still be good at his job while also being as front and center as he's ever been. If this shit doesn't work, I think his ass is just as much on the hot seat as Brian Callahan's is. And he knows that. I mean, I've talked to both of those men about that in terms of, you know, how I go about criticizing the work that they do or haven't done or haven't been able to do and what they've tried to do and gotten explanations from both of them. We've had good conversations about why this thing hasn't worked and also why I'm as critical of them as I have been, because it's been awful and the football product is awful. None of these people are perfect. Mike Vrabel isn't perfect. Chad Brinker isn't perfect. Cam Ward isn't perfect, as much as you guys want to make him, you know, the savior, manna from football heaven, right? He's not perfect. He's not a finished product by any stretch of the imagination. He's going to have games where he sucks. He's going to have to fight through it. He's going to have to overcome. He hasn't done any of that at the NFL level yet. He's done plenty of it in his college career, which makes you think that he's going to be able to do it. But I just don't think that you can I don't think you can be short-sighted. That to me was a comment that was short-sighted. Maybe it ends up being right that they are not making correct decisions or they're not the right people to do this job. I have no idea. But they're the people who are currently doing this job, and so we're going to evaluate them as a result. Just the same way that we did Robinson or Malarkey or Webster or Munchak or any of these people who have come before. I think that there has to be some important context that's worked into this. Travis Knight wants to know, what were their answers when you asked? We must know. Asked what specifically? I haven't asked them anything. I have, and this is not like puff out my chest, look at me type of shit, but I've told them how I think about this. I told them that the day that their season ended, that I got on the radio show and said that everybody should be fired, that they should have cleared house. I've got Brian Callahan doing a live podcast with me tomorrow, and I've got Chad Brinker coming into the radio studio because they understand how this shit works. They didn't perform. They collectively did not perform. And it doesn't mean that they have to kiss the media's ass or be extra nice to us. They understand that there's criticism that comes associated with this, and to their credits, they're professional about it, which I appreciate. So I think that a lot of this, you have to kind of understand the full picture of it. I think they understand it better than a lot of us, even including myself, understand it because they're actually in it. They've been with multiple organizations. They've gotten the criticism before. They'll get the criticism after, right? Nobody is perfect in these jobs. So anyway, the thing that I am, the offseason grade, I'll give them a C+. I feel pretty good about a C+. I think that's completely fair. And we'll await to see what the results could end up being an A. I reserve the right to change my grade. All right. Weekend bounce back. Who needs to bounce back most in sports this weekend? Is it Robert Mumu? I haven't seen 10 receipts tweeted to me. I've seen a few. I have 4 currently sitting in my DMs.
I knew you guys couldn't do it. You'll never see me in a movie.
He's like a troll that lives under a bridge. He just pops out and grabs your ankles with a mumu. It's very, very disconcerting from his troll cave back there, his Ravens troll cave. Either way, who needs to bounce back most in sports? Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. Ann Herndon, who passed her nursing final. Congratulations to Ann. I saw that comment earlier. Well done. Bert needs a bounce back after having Buck muted on YouTube during the radio show for an entire segment. The entire last segment of the radio show. What do you mean shaking your head no? What do you mean no? There's video evidence of you not doing your job correctly and leaving me on mute for the YouTube audience for an entire last segment of the show. Did it end up on the podcast? Were you able to put it on the podcast? I bet you didn't because you didn't have me in the right program. Whose fault is that, Mumu boy? Hiding back there. You guys need to make him suffer for his actions. You need to buy more install tickets. J Bull says, damn, that scared me. And popping out of nowhere like that. St. Louis Cardinals need to beat the Mets, says Louis Chestney. I have not watched a single inning of MLB baseball this year, so I could not possibly comment on that. Shedeur Sanders, says Derek West. He desperately needs a bounce back. Shedeur is probably the best candidate for any of this. But the person that I think, or I guess the thing that I think needs a bounce back is American democracy. Oh, politics, you say. Don't get anywhere near the politics. Okay, but what happens when the sports mix with the politics? Buck needs to bounce back for his Instagram DMs being turned off. My Instagram DMs aren't turned off. I'm looking at them right now. What do you mean my DMs are turned off? People have DM'd me in the last 3 seconds since we started doing the show. I have general, I have primary, and I have requests. Maybe you're stuck in the requests, Vernon. Maybe I haven't moved you from requests into messages that I've read just yet, but it doesn't mean that my DMs are off. It just means that if I haven't gotten to it yet, I haven't gotten to it. So I will catch up as soon as I can. But American democracy needs a bounce back because Donald Trump just endorsed Stephen A. Smith for president.
Stephen A. Smith may run for president, as you know. Do you have any advice for Stephen A. If he launches the run?
No, Stephen A. He's a good guy. He's a smart guy. I love watching him. He's got great entertainment skills, which is very important. People watch him. A lot of these Democrats I watch, I say they have no chance. I've been pretty good at picking people and picking candidates, and I will tell you, I'd love to see him run. All right, there you go.
We are living in the end times, ladies and gentlemen. We are. We got the reality TV star president. Now we're going to get first take in the Oval Office. He's going to have, I guess he's not going to have Shannon Sharp in there yelling at him right now. But we are going to have Skip Bayless versus Stephen A. Smith from the Oval Office debate desk in the very near future. And what's the next presidential election cycle? 2028? We are cooked. We got Bill Belichick's life being run by a 24-year-old. We got Stephen A. out here running for president. We've got society is in full-on decay. And I don't know whether to just point and laugh and go along for the ride or be made very, very sad by it. But either way, it's enough to – if you can't laugh at that, I don't know what you can laugh at this point in time. Anyway, Kendall says, to be honest, Stephen A. Smith has the best chance as a Democrat, or has the best chance of Democrats. Man, I don't know. If Stephen A. Smith polls, like I said, I didn't think the reality TV star was going to make it as president, much less twice. Derek West says, President G, you lost your damn mind. What's Stephen A. like to say? He likes to say, I'm trying to think of a Stephen A. diatribe off the top of my head other than stay off the weed. Like I can't Kwame Brown. I'd give anything for his inaugural address to be about Kwame Brown. Yeah, I don't know, man. You get the government that you vote for. And so if you vote for Stephen A. Smith, that's what you deserve. All right, that's going to be it for us tonight. Get your tickets for the install. Did you get enough to make him do the mumu dance? I have 5 DMs. I don't have 10. Mumu boy's off the hook. You want to give him a preview anyway? You going to wear the mumu tomorrow? No, you're not going to wear the mumu tomorrow. All right, very good.
No mumu tomorrow. But I will still do a mumu dance if we end up selling this thing out on Sunday's primetime.
Okay, Sunday's primetime. All we need is you guys to buy 5 more tickets for the install with Brian Callahan, with Greg Cosell, with me. We're going to have a great time. We're going to see 250 of you all there. We're going to make Bert do a mumu dance on Sunday night after the fact. It's going to be a great time had by all. We will see you tomorrow night at what time the doors open? Doors open at 6 p.m. If you haven't got those tickets yet, 1045thezone.com for more information. We'll do the radio show tomorrow, of course. Coach Mac will be on. We'll talk some shop with him, and then we will get ready to host 250 of you guys in the analog room at the Hutton Hotel. We'll see you there.
There's a very low percentage of this that is smiles and glory hole.